All right, greetings. Happy 2025. My name is Casey Joyner. I'm with Scenic Sotheby's, and this is your year-end report on 2025 from 30A to Destin real estate market. We bring you the quarterly all year, but this is wrapping it all. We just finished Q4. We're going to show you the year that was. We're going to compare year over year to show you exactly what we did. We talk about this all the time on the channel, but we are facts over feelings, right? Numbers over anything else. They tell the story and then we create the narrative around it, right? Whether you're buying or selling, these are going to be the facts that you do. So what I'm doing today is I'm literally taking you down the coast. I'm going to show you exactly what happened, show you what we did compared to Q4 last year, and then kind of what we've done the last 6 months, okay, in one snapshot. So you're going to come out of this today knowing exactly what to tell your friends. You can hold up any crazy conversation that may be happening down the street at your favorite restaurant and tell them you know the numbers because I watched Casey's video, right? That's what we're going to do. So I love doing it. We're going to walk you through it. At the end of it, if you have any questions, let me know. And then as you always know, I can always send you your specific neighborhood if we do not touch it today. So this is a longer one. So if you are doing something, you got me on in the background, or if whatever's going on, I appreciate you watching, but we're going to get straight into this. My glasses feel a little crooked, but we're going to get straight into this and show you guys. So keep it on in the background, learn something today. And I'm not going anywhere, so I'm here for any questions. So let's get into it. As always, we're going to go east to west, and we're going to start with 38 East End, okay? All right, Q4. So this is going to wrap up the year. Average price per square foot for 38 East End. And again, this is like Inlet Beach down to like Grayton Beach, okay? That window on 30A. Average price per square foot, $763 per foot. List price to sales price ratio. Let me define that again just up front. That is the discount from the list price to what it finally sells for. So it's basically saying that buyers got a 9% discount on average. The asterisk is on average because if you're priced right, I've got plenty of evidence to show the buyers will come up, but on average it's leveling off at 91%. Average days on market 107, number of sales 180. Casey, is that good? Let's find out. This year, as I said, number of sales in Q4 180, last year 138. That is a 30% increase in number of transactions. 38 East End, folks, hang on to this statement. I think we're going to have a bit of a trend in number of transactions versus last year. Okay, we're just getting started, but let's hold on to that. Here's another thing I'm looking for: sold volume, 411 million in 2025 Q4, 379 last year, up 9%. Okay, but look at this. All right. Average sales price, 2.286 million on average, 38 East End. What a time to be alive. Amazing. Last year, 2.747. Down 17%. So listen, here's another trend I want you to watch as we go. Are we settling in on the price point, leveling off, but doing more transactions because of it? That's kind of the question I want you to take in. Do we do more transactions across the board, and are the price points leveling off so that we can do more transactions? That's what's happening. Average days on market, about the same, 107 versus 112. Active listings, 421, 422, zero change in the inventory, okay? Active wise, right? Months of inventory, 8 and 9. So listen, interestingly enough, 38 East End, inventory kind of played the same way. We just did more transactions at a lower price point, okay? Let's keep rolling. 38 East Gulf Front, we skipped these. We only had 5 transactions versus 3 this time last year. We had some big ones though. $43 million out there happened in Q4. $43 million for a house sitting on 3 lots in Paradise by the Sea. Congratulations to that buyer and seller, okay? 38 West End, look at this now. $632 per foot on average. Now, listen, you've been watching me long enough that a lot of times I take up for the West End because they have been so much lower on average price per square foot than the East End. But with those price point changes I just told you, West End has closed the gap, okay? They have really closed the gap. Go watch Q3. That was like a $200 per foot gap there. That's getting smaller, okay? List price to sales price ratio, 90%, right on par. Average days on market, a little bit more than East End, 136. Number of sales, 65. Casey, is that better than this time last year? This year, 65. Last year, we did 56, okay? Trailing 6 months, we're up 11% on that as well. Sold volume, 113 million in 25, 82 million last year. Areas, and listen, 38 West End for WaterColor through Grayton Beach through Dune Island, up 38% on the volume that they did year over year. Average sales price, 1.7 million in 2025. This time last year, 147, up 19%. So listen, more transactions just like East End, but the price point also went up on the West End, okay? Let's look at this, average price per square foot. Look at that, 632. This is what I'm talking about. $632 per foot on average. This time last year, 540. See, we were at 540. I say we because I live on the West End. West End was at 540 when East End was up in the 8s. It was almost $300 a foot difference. They've closed the gap on that. Average days on market, 136, down from 186. That's a good indicator. Active listings, about 10% difference, 211 right now versus 230 last year. Kind of feel that, all right? So listen, that's a big storyline, right? 38 West End, because of a little bit of drop on the East End, is catching up on an average price per square foot. Love it. Not many Gulfront sales, just 2. So we're not gonna dive too much into that. Let's talk about Rosemary Beach. Rosemary Beach in 2025 wrapped up with average price per square foot of $1,312 per foot. 95% list price to sales price ratio. I think that's tighter than it was coming into that quarter. Average days on market, 242. That's pretty strong. You know, when everybody else is at like 110, 242. Number of sales only 7, so somebody's dragging that up, see? Average price sold volume is up 63%, okay? So they had some big sales. Average sales price, let's see. Average sales price in 2025, fourth quarter was 5.4 and 3.8 versus last year. But that's 7 sales, guys. We're not gonna dive into that too much. Interesting in Alys though, listen, number of sales, I mean, it's just 5 versus 10 last year. So when someone can say, Casey, man, you were doubling this amount of sales in Alys last year. Look at this, $1,830 per foot on average. Still amazing, right? Alys is just killing it. 92% list price to sales price ratio, that's down, okay? More negotiation, but I will tell you that's because we had more resale product versus the new product in Alys. Average days on market, 144, but not 5 sales. But on those 5 sales, look at that. $27 million in sales in 2025 Q4. Last year, they did 84 million. So it's 70% down. Let's see active listings, about the same. 16 right now, 18 this time last year, okay? So Alys just kind of settled in, and Alys is gonna ebb and flow based on if it's resale selling or if there's a lot of new inventory, what I call coming in off the conveyor belt. There's so many homes under contract, and once they finish up with the developer, whoever they're buying it for, that sale will hit the market. It'll show 0 days on market. It'll show full price and an outstanding price. So if you have a big season of those, it just pushes Alys right on up there, okay? Seacrest Beach, always fun to watch, about the same. They went up about number of transactions, 16 from 10 this time last year. Average sales price, 1.595, that's down from 2.1 this time last year. So I think that's just inventory driven down there. And again, we're talking about 16 sales. WaterSound Beach, $1,210 per foot, ticking right along. Average list price to sales price ratio, 86%. That's gonna be on the lower end of what we see. Buyers are negotiating a little bit more in WaterSound Beach. Average days on market, 161, but that's on 2 sales, guys. There's not much to go by there, okay? Seaside Florida, 1 sale. They just do their thing, man, right? Seaside, I think they're gonna end up with like 10 sales on the year. I love it. But also not a lot for sale. Active listings, 3. We love Seaside. Got the party started down here. WaterColor, man, WaterColor is just right on it. Listen to these numbers, $1,000 per foot. Look at that, that's nice and clean, easy. 92% list price to sales price ratio, right in line. Average days on market, 122, a little higher than I thought. Number of sales, 23. So on those 23 sales, Q4 this year, which was good, 23 sales versus 15 this time last year, okay? Let's see what that's sold volume, up 25%. So that means average sales price. Average sales price came down a little bit. Average sales price was 3.1 versus 3.8 this time last year. I will tell you though, a lot of the inventory that's been popping in WaterColor, we saw more houses in that 2.5 to like 3.2 range on the market. They were getting gobbled up quickly. That doesn't surprise me that brought that average price down some based on the inventory. Active listings right now, 38. That's down from 47 this time last year, okay? So WaterColor, like I tell everybody, it's probably as consistent as anything is out there, okay? Grayton Beach, another place like Seaside, we don't see a lot of inventory or transactions, right? 3 in Q4. I will tell you the active listings though, they've got 11, they're up from 9 this time last year. Not enough intel, but man, look at that list price to sales price ratio. On those sales, on those 3 sales, they got almost what they needed to, right? 97% of asking price, $2,100 per foot on average days on market, 29. If you have a special property in Grayton Beach and it hits the market will pay you for it, okay? Origins, man, this has been an interesting one to watch. How'd they do? 96% list price to sales price ratio. That's just mainly because it's all new sales, guys, right? Like they're just closing up with the builder for the most part. Average days on market, 89. Number of sales, 41 versus 33 this time last year. Average sales price is up about 10%, 1.38 versus 1.27. Active listings, this was a bit of a storyline, but we're coming in pretty close to last year. 66 active listings in WaterSound Origins, 59 this time last year, okay? Sandestin, we love Sandestin. It was my first job. Let's see what's going on. Number of sales, 15. Average price per square foot, $591. List price to sales price ratio on par, 92%. Let's see this though, home sales, 15 in Q4 2025. This time last year, 27, so down about 45% on that. Average sales price, down as well, about 5%, okay? Average days on market, really down. Look at that. So average days on market in this last quarter was 47 versus 83 this time last year. Active listings up a little bit, 69 versus 60. So Sandestin's staying pretty steady, guys. I mean, that sold volume is down because the number of transactions is down. The only thing to watch there is you've got this basically the same amount of inventory, if not a little bit more, and then you've got about 10 or 12 fewer sales. Okay, so that's messing with the numbers. So not quite as active in Sandestin as it was this time last year. Burnt Pine staying steady, just 5 sales. We're not gonna dive into that small. Let's get to Miramar Beach, okay? So this is like leaving the gates of Sandestin, getting closer to Destin, right? So Miramar Beach at a glance, Q4 2025, $434 per foot. You know this is coming. Casey always takes up for Miramar Beach and Destin. Don't judge that average price per square foot because Miramar Beach and Destin has some of our oldest oldest homes. So because of that, the price points can suffer a bit, all right? Average days on market, 134. Let's see what they did this time last year. Number of sales, 36 this year, 27 last year. So they're up about 30%. Sold volumes up about 3%. So that means that average sales price, let's see, yeah. Average sales price in 2025, Q4 was 1.18. Last year it was $1,525,000, okay? And that's on 36 transactions. I mean, that's a substantial number, so that's a real number. Average price per square foot is down, $434 from $508, okay? So I would say this, they're moving more product. They're like 30A East End. They're moving more product, but at a lower price point right now this year. Active listings are down 105 from 112 this time last year. So they're selling through some stuff at about the same pace as they were last year, but they're doing it at a lower price point, okay? Miramar Beach Gulfront Homes, 1 transaction. Destin, $397 per foot on average. Taking up for them. The oldest inventory we did, the luckiest fishing village in the world. They've got some old homes down there. $397 a foot. List price to sales price ratio, right in there, 90%. Average days on market, 105. 70 sales, 2025 versus 56 this time last year. Average sales price, up. $983 versus $896. Way to go, Destin, up 10%. Let's check that days on market. It's taken longer. We've got the same amount of listings. So Destin, that's good news. You're doing more transactions and you're doing them for more money right now, and you're keeping the same inventory level. That's a good space to be in as you rocket down through the rest of going into this year. I love it. That's a good pace. I'd love to see Destin keep that rolling. Destin Gulfront, again, one transaction. Panama City Beach. All right, Panama City Beach. This is an important one. This is the year end, closing it out, right? Q4, Panama City Beach, average price per square foot, $396 per foot. List price to sales price ratio, again, buyers getting about a 9% discount on average. Average days on market, 123. I think we feel that over there. Number of sales, 177 in Q4 2025 versus 149 this time last year. So we kind of feel that. We saw more transactions happening in and around Panama City Beach. Sold volume, 81 million versus 71 million. So that's up 14%. So let's look at that average sales price. Average sales price, Panama City Beach on condos. This is condos we're talking, okay? $461 per foot. That's down from $481 this time last year, okay? So listen, I love that it had 177 sales. So they're pacing 20% more in number of transactions, but they're kind of acting like some of the other ones that are pacing ahead on transactions. They're doing it because the price point came down a little bit. So more transactions at a lower price point, that's moving the market. That tells me sellers, they're not just dropping because they're desperate, they're getting real with the market, the adjustments there, and the buyers are coming in making the purchases. Average days on market, 123 versus 122, that's right on par. Active listings. Here's the trick in Panama City Beach right now. 832 active listings as of Q4 2025 on condos. This time last year, 654, okay? That's a 27% increase. So listen, here's what I'm gonna say to you, Panama City Beach. You're having success, you're moving more product, but you're seeing more inventory hit the market. So those price points are gonna continue to get a little bit of pressure until you guys sell through it. But the good news is, for a lot of you, you are hitting a price point that the market likes and they're coming to get you, okay? So listen, I know I kind of went through that for you, and I'll give you guys the individual slides if you want to, but here's what I would say. If you watch my market update weekly, and if not, I invite you to. Every Monday, I break down the numbers, and some people say, man, you don't have to do that every Monday. I like it, and I think it's the true way to tell the story and keep pace on what's going on so that I can give you talking points as we go. Here's the overall narrative for me. I think that we are in a really good spot. We've got buyers coming forward more aggressively than we have in the past. And I think it's because the sellers have gotten real with the pricing. I'm very rarely seeing things so out of price that it's not attractive enough to get showings and get movement. That's my take. But to do so, these pockets that are seeing more sales, 20% more than they did last year, the price point came down a little bit. That story to me is maybe this time last year, you had the same amount of inventory, but it was higher. You were still hoping. You got real on it and you got it sold. And I guarantee you across the board, I'm not working with desperate sellers. I'm working with people that want to do business, and the ones that are doing business right now are getting real on the number, and the buyers are seeing that value. Look, I just interviewed Drew from Affordable. Insurance rates are going down. It looks like the interest rates have stabilized. Rental rates have stabilized. I think we're in for a great 2026 because of all these factors. And I think transactions are going to be up, but I think you're going to have to get real on the price point to make it happen. So listen, I love bringing this stuff to you guys. I do it every week. So if this is your first time seeing this, please tune in weekly, subscribe, and stay in touch with us, and we'll walk you completely through 2026. Thanks so much for watching.